got big dreams, I'ma do big things. Yeah, you see me on the big screen looking so clean. I don't move slow, I move fast right past.
Yo, what's going on guys? Sam Plays here, and I am back with another TFD video. Now, I have been gone a week. I had to deal with some IRL issues and stuff like that, just with like doctors and responsibilities, all that good stuff. So I was gone for like 6 days, so I am back now. I did a poll like a few days ago, 4 or 5 days ago, what you guys wanted to see, and the Transcendent modules for Hailey won the poll, and the second one that won was TFD hot takes, which is basically a lot of things that people might not agree with that I think about the game. We might do a video on that, you know, start a little bit of drama, you know what I'm saying, but not really. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, it's just my opinions on the game and all that good stuff. It's the same thing when I were like, oh yeah, the skins are really sexy, like don't stop doing it, and then you had like people being like, oh bro, it's too sexualized, like whatever man, like touch grass. But I'm honestly not gonna like try and milk this. I'm just gonna give you guys my honest take and just keep it a buck with you guys, as I always do. I did test out these mods. I tested out cryogenic and I tested out super cold Kuiper round, and honestly I don't think either one of them are that great. I mean, cryogenic, in my opinion, is one of the worst transcendent mods in the entire game, and I would not even recommend trying to build around it. That is how bad I think it is. Now, that doesn't mean that if you want to make a build for it, and maybe later if they buff it, it'll be like good, right? But for right now, I would say it's not even worth trying to make a build around it unless you're just trying to like have fun and, you know, experiment or whatever. Then that's totally fine. But I don't think it is. It's very like underwhelming. You can stack it. What I was doing was I was using cryogenic and then stacking it with the thunder cage. And even that, it just did not seem like it was worth using. I tried to go like full. I tried out like 4 different builds. I tried like full cooldown, and then I tried like throwing in like damage, and then a mixture of both. No matter which way I kind of cracked it, the mod just seems like there's really no place for it. I mean, like, because if you go into a 400% dungeon, it's, in my opinion, it's better to just use the spell build, have them all chasing you, and then use your 2 ability, right? Because I don't think that the cryogenic mod, the explosion, I don't think it does enough to where it's like worth using. Now, I'm not saying you can't use it. You absolutely can if you want to, but I wouldn't prioritize it, is what I'm trying to say. Unless you're just like a Hailey main and you don't want to play anything else but Hailey, you don't want to use Bunny or Freyna to farm, then maybe you could use the cryogenic cluster shot, but I personally am not going to be using it. I think the mod's terrible. I'll leave that up to you guys, but yeah, I don't even know if I want to bother even showing it off. I mean, it's just so underwhelming to the point to where it's like you might as well not even have it on. That's just me keeping it a buck. If someone gets angry at that, I really don't care. The mod's trash, bro. Like, guys, let's be honest, man. Like, come on. The mod is terrible. I mean, I was trying to come up with a build here, and I was able to get this down to like 100% uptime when I switched out some of these mods, and you're basically just like perma clicking your Q or your 1, and you're just like exploding stuff. But the thing is, it's like RNG of which enemies it hits. The damage is like not that great, even with Thunder Cage on and we're stacking explosions, right? Like, I feel like most of the damage is just coming from my Thunder Cage. Like, it's not even coming from cryogenic. It's not to say that it doesn't do anything. It's just, I think the mod needs a buff. Now, I think why the devs did this is because she was performing in the meta like really, really good with bosses, right? So they didn't want to make her like the best bosser and like a really good farmer, I'm assuming. So they kind of like gave her a little nudge with her cryogenic. Not really, they didn't want to make it too good, if I had to guess, because it's just, they're like, oh, she's already really good at bossing. We don't want everybody to just play only Hailey, so we can't make her a really good farmer as well. Now, this might change in the future because we got Ultimate Freyna, and she's really good at bossing, and she's incredible at farming. So maybe they do buff up this Transcendent mod. I personally am gonna wait to to invest into Ultimate Hailey, and then when she gets her new Transcendent mods, that's when I'll like full send it, right? Because if I like really like a character, I will like put 3 catalysts in each one of these slots, so I can just like change whenever I want to, just in case like certain mods get buffed and stuff like that. I don't see a need here for Hailey, just because I think her Transcendent mods just they're not really priority. They're not like too great. But I'll show you guys real quick. Here, we'll test out Cryogenic real quick. It's pretty underwhelming. I'm sure you guys have already tried it for yourselves, but just in case you haven't, I'll show you real quick. It is a lot better in the 250% dungeons, but in the 400% dungeons, it's pretty terrible, like, to be honest. But if you're running like 100% and 250% dungeons, I think it's like it's way better, right? Because they don't have as much like HP and all that good stuff, so you kind of see some like more value out of like the mod. But in the 400% dungeons specifically, yeah, it's just like not really worth it. I think it would be more worth it to like stack up the entire room and then use your 2 ability, because the Cryogenic mod just doesn't seem that great. Personally, I'm just gonna, if I wanted to like level up Hailey and farm with her, I would just stay with my spell crit build and like, you know, just group them all and then use my 2 ability. But for the sake of the video, I'm just like gonna show it. I don't have 100% uptime on my 1 ability right now, but it doesn't really matter. I'm not gonna full invest into a Transcendent mod that I think is bad. But if you wanted to, you could throw in more cooldown. That way you could get 100% uptime on your Q. You can also throw in a cooldown reactor if you wanted to do that. But overall, I just, like, you're getting slowed with your 3 ability, right? And then you're just, like, running really slow. You're having to spam your 1 ability. I have, like, 2 open slots. I should have threw the rest of my mods in, but, I mean, regardless, it doesn't really matter. Comparatively to, like, Bunny and Freyna, this is not even close. I would not consider this a like farm build for Hailey. I just don't see the need to have this. Like, I mean, now if you can see, there is like a little bit of like, if you get them all grouped up and then you like hit them with that, you know, it'll like explode them, right? But there's so many enemies and it's RNG on which one it hits that it just doesn't seem that great, right? Like, there's too many enemies spawning too quickly in the 400% dungeons, and yeah, it just doesn't seem worth it. But you guys can kind of come to that conclusion yourself. I just personally don't think this mod is good, so you guys can make your own conclusions though. You can go and try it out. I'm just getting insta-nuked at this point, but like, it almost makes me not even want to use my 3 just so I don't get the like movement speed debuff, like literally. Anyways, you guys get the idea. As I said, if you're wondering if you should like fully invest into Hailey's like farming cryogenic build, no is my answer. In my opinion, I don't think it's worth it. The mod sucks, but maybe they'll buff it in the future. If you wanted to, you know, if you're running 400% dungeons, you could throw in like MP collector here. Personally, I would just stick with this build. Even in the 400% invasions, you could just swap this out with like MP collector or, you know, HP collector, whatever you want to do. And I would just like use your 2 ability if you're like trying to farm, or if you wanted to take out a little bit of damage and then throw in like nimble fingers with MP conversion. That way you're getting more cooldown and you just spam your 2 ability. So you do this and then nimble fingers and then a skill cooldown reactor, excuse me. And then, you know, it'll bring this down like pretty significantly because you're just gonna like one-shot the entire room, right? So yeah, I'm not a fan of cryogenic, just my opinion on it. If you feel differently, it's whatever, but I don't think the mod's good. I think it's not even worth building around. I'm just keeping it real. I think it's a waste of a Transcendent mod. I like the idea of it though. I mean, if they buff it, I'll full send it, bro. I'll like fully catalyst to like make a build around this. But as it is right now, it just doesn't seem worth it to me when I can just hop on like either ultimate Freyna or not even a catalyzed Freyna, and I just throw on Contagion, and she's just like infinitely better at clearing than Hailey is, right? The only time I could see this being good is if you're just like for funning it and you're just like wanting to level or whatever, then it's like whatever, right? Like if you, at the end of the day, just do what you're having fun with, do what you like. Like if you like cryogenic and you think it feels good for you, then who am I to tell you that it's trash, right? I mean, for me though, this mod's trash. I will never use it unless it gets buffed. But let's talk about her other one, which is super cool. Hyper round. So equipping a unique weapon decreases additional firearm attack and fire rate, but increases weak point damage, and successfully attacking a weak point recovers shield instead of MP. Honestly, I don't know why they did this. When this mod first got revealed, I was like, bro, why? Like, the mana, getting back the mana while you're in your like mounted position and you have your 3 ticking is like pretty valuable, right? Now granted, if you have like MP recovery in combat and out of combat, and then you throw in like energy collection or whatever, just like one of those kinds of mods, you're not going to be ticking as fast in your 3, but the recovering shield just doesn't seem that great. I mean, it can technically be good, like maybe if you're like shooting the boss and he pulls aggro and he like is shooting at you and you're running the Slayer build and you're getting like your shield back, then maybe it can be better than getting your mana back. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, as I said, these mods just don't seem like that great. So like with Super Cold Kuiper round, you do get more damage, but it doesn't matter if you're like with Hailey, if you're running this build, you're literally like 2-tapping the bosses anyway, so you're not getting any value out of this mod because it's decreasing your firearm attack, right? But it's only really good if you're like consistently hitting their weak points and you don't miss, because it increases the weak point damage, but it decreases when firing a unique weapon, but increases again on a successful weak point attack. So if you're like constantly hitting their weak point, you're going to be doing more damage, right? But it's not like significant damage, because if you're like fighting the first like 5 hard bosses in solo or whatever, you're going to be killing them like within one rotation anyways before they can even phase. So it's not really like a huge priority. Now you can use it. I'm not saying this is like terrible. Like overall it is a DPS increase if you're hitting like all of your shots. But it's not like necessary. Like if you don't have this mod and you're just like trying to farm it for infinite amount of time, like I wouldn't worry about it too much. The damage increase you get from it is like not really like super noticeable. Like you'll notice you're doing a little bit more damage if you're hitting all the weak points, but it's not like an insane amount more, right? So let me throw on my flare set. We're gonna go full damage with the piercing light, and then I'll show you guys. Alright, so this is with the super cold Kuiper round Transcendent mod on. We have 3 Haileys, so we're probably just gonna like one phase this guy anyway, but you have to just make sure you're always hitting the weak points. Aw, this is... I misplayed it. Oh my gosh, we have 100 of these. I'm gonna do another one of those, by the way, since I misplayed it. I'm gonna keep it in the video just because mistakes happen, right? But I'll, let me do another one here. I forgot to put my back against the wall so I don't get like right here, like so that way I'm not getting like line of vision just posting up right here. It's just bad RNG, but I should have played it better, but it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, right? These bosses are like a joke. Alright, we probably won't one phase it since we don't have triple Hailey anymore, but basically, I'll put my back to the wall this time, but basically it doesn't recover MP anymore, and as long as you hit all weak points, you do more damage. I didn't have enough mana for my 2, but it doesn't matter. We still one-phased them. Alright, and we did like 34 million, right? 34, 35 million, like in that obstructor clear. Let me take it off. Now, I'll show you guys another obstructor clear. This doesn't really mean much, to be honest, because you would have to do hundreds and hundreds of runs to try and like get the average of the damage of the 2 mods that you're doing, and I am just not going to do that for a mod that is just not doing that much to begin with. So the reason why it doesn't really matter is because like you would have to get the same amount of crits. Like, you know, if I showed like one video with my mod, right, and I crit like a lot, and I'm just like, guys, this mod does 25 more million damage, but in the second run where I show you guys without the mod, I'm like, oh, I only did 35 million damage with here. It could be because I was critting less or stuff like that, so it doesn't necessarily mean that it's like worse or better, which is why I'm saying you would have to do like hundreds and hundreds of runs, which is why I wish the training lab was a little bit like better. Like, I wish we could spawn Colossuses, set it to critting 100% of the time. There's just going to be some variability when you're fighting these bosses, so I'm just showing you guys though, just to show you. At the end of the day, take it with a grain of salt. This doesn't really mean anything unless I had the exact same run with the exact same crits. But I'm just going to show you guys there's not like that much of a difference, right? Like, see, I like this much better because I'm getting the mana back. And I have enough mana to cast my 2. Oh, that looks kind of sick. Could only see like my gun. Alright, and then in this one, we did 46 million, which is 10 million more, but I did use my 2 ability, right? So you can make that argument. So if we subtracted the 9 million damage I did from my 2, but it's like, how much did we crit, you know, stuff like that. It doesn't really matter, but what I'm saying is if you took out the 10 million damage from my 2, the 9 to 10 million damage from my 2, right, I did 36 million my second run, and then this is without the mod, and then on the first run with the mod I did like 34, 35 million, right? So it's like a million damage decrease. Again, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. I could have crit, I could have not crit. It doesn't really matter. But what I'm saying is it's not like that big of a deal. The super cool Transcendent mod is going to do more damage in the long term, but it doesn't really matter if you're going to be doing like 5-second boss runs, right? I mean, I personally like it without the mod because it gives me mana back. And unless you have like the perfect external components where you have like MP recovery in combat, out of combat, things like that, then I prefer the mana over the shield regeneration, just because I feel like shield regeneration isn't that good unless you're running like a full shield build. But regardless, you guys get my point. I don't want to make this an hour-long video. At the end of the day, these Transcendent mods are not the greatest. They are not going to make or break your Hailey. You could never use them and be totally fine. It's not going to hurt your damage like that much. Honestly, in most of my boss runs, I couldn't even tell the difference. Like, there were a couple runs where I was doing more damage with her Transcendent mod on, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Like, you're totally fine if you don't want to use it. I like to prioritize the mana regen so I don't run out of mana as fast while I'm sitting in my ultimate, but you guys can kind of test it out and come to the conclusion yourself. But at the end of the day, I think Hailey's Transcendent modules are just, they're whatever. You can, if you wanted to, try and build around them and do some experimentation, but for me, I don't think it's that worth, to be honest. Like, the Kuiper one, for sure, you can make an argument that this one's like kind of worth throwing on if you want to like min-max your damage, if you are hitting 100% of your weak shots, but you know, it's not that big of a deal. I'm not personally going to use it just because I want to get my mana back, but if you wanted to, you could kind of just do whatever you want as far as like her farming mod. If you like cryogenic and you think it feels good, then go ahead and use it. Me personally, I'm not going to use it. I'd rather just stick with my spell build and then just group them all up and use my 2 ability. I feel like that is way more efficient than just killing my fingers, spamming my 1 ability, and just like, you know, constantly just like shooting everything and then it's just not doing that much damage in the 400% dungeons. But you know, it's up to you guys. Whatever you guys want to do. At the end of the day, it's a game. Have fun with it. Just because a content creator tells you that something is bad doesn't mean it's bad for you. I just personally don't like it. I think it's ass. But I mean, at the end of the day, you do what you want to do with it. It's all going to come down to preference and how you want to play your Hailey. Hailey is like definitely in my top 3 characters. I love Hailey. I love playing her. I think she is one of the best Descendants in the game by far, which is why they did not want to go overboard with her farm build or her Transcendent mods. I think once we get Ultimate Hailey and they introduce some new Transcendent mods, it will be hopefully much better, a lot more impactful. But as of right now, it's not really that serious. You don't have to really worry about it. That's my 2 cents. If you like it, as I said, it's all you, man. Like, that's cool. I'm not gonna say you're wrong. I don't like them. I'm just not gonna put in a Transcendent mod, to be honest. Sometimes I might put in the Kuiper one, because that one does seem like it can be good sometimes. If it's like really long boss fights and I'm on my A game and I'm hitting like every weak point. But besides that, yeah, it's not really that big of a deal. Anyways, guys, that's it. Sorry I was MIA for a while. As I said, I had some stuff to take care of, had some doctor's appointments and, you know, real life stuff going on. I can't play TFD 24 hours a day, unfortunately, but I just wanted to be honest with you guys. I wanted to give you my thoughts on the mods, all that good stuff. I wouldn't stress it too much if you're not wanting to use them. I think they're like situational, but if you like them, then go ahead and go for it. You don't have to like follow the meta or, you know, do what feels good for you at the end of the day. Just because somebody else says it's not that great or that they don't like it doesn't mean it's not good for you, right? But me personally, I am just not going to use a Transcendent mod. I'll wait for Ultimate Hailey and check out our new mods and all that good stuff. So anyways, that's it, guys. This video was longer than I intended. Originally I was just gonna be like, yeah, I'm good, I'm not gonna use those mods, but I figured I'd kind of give reasons of why I feel that way. But anyways, Hailey's dope. She's still one of the best characters in the game. It is what it is, you know. Hopefully we get some better Transcendent mods for her in the future with Ultimate Hailey. But I am Samix Plays. That's it for today. I'll be uploading regularly again. We just have to find stuff to do because honestly, I just have like weapon proficiency stuff to do and I am lazy when it comes to that. I like leveling and doing weapon proficiency, so I don't really know who I want to work on next. Could do Lepic, I suppose. I feel like my Glaze already just like good enough. Like, I feel like she does what she needs to do, but regardless, I don't know. We'll figure it out. Anyways, boys, that's it. Peace out. Y'all have a good one. Y'all take care. I'll see y'all in the next one. Later.